You guys want to hear something new? Absolutely not. I came for the radio standards.
Talk about Oscar the Grouch, you son of a bitch.
Thank you.
Please welcome our next guest. She is a writer and comedian, Akilah Hughes. Look, this crowd loves you.
Hi, John. How are you?
And returning to the stage, Solomon Georgio. Welcome back, Solomon.
Thank you so much. Hi.
Hey.
Hi. Hello.
Do you feel that chill in the air?
Yes.
That chill in the air can only mean two things. Autumn is here, as is Dave Chappelle's hour-long rant about trans people. Akilah and Solomon, if you're like me, you love autumn almost as much as you did not love The Closer.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Solomon, you agree with that?
Yeah, it was. I watched half of it, so that's
A lot.
that's plenty.
That's funny. We thought about playing a game about just how many big-name comedians have made the same 3 or 4 bad jokes about gender identity over the past decade, many right there on Netflix between episodes of transporting British baking shows and reality contests where hot Angelinos spend a month in Malibu rentals competing to either fuck or not fuck each other. Anyway, depending on the program. But we thought that game was too depressing. So instead, we're introducing a new segment. It's called Lovett Or Leave It.
Oh. Oh, wow. Lovely.
Give me my pumpkin spice.
Here's how it works. I'm going to ask you questions about the season of autumn and Dave Chappelle. And you have to answer both.
Okay.
Okay.
Akilah, we'll start with you.
Oh, good.
And please be sure to cover both in your answer.
I'll do my best.
You went to see a screening of the Chappelle documentary, and you wrote a great piece about it, about the experience of going to see this documentary, because you basically, there was just all of a sudden the availability of these like private tickets to go see something you didn't know what it was. You thought it might be the special.
Yeah.
And then the special comes out, and it wasn't the special, and it was this documentary. What was striking about seeing the documentary versus the special? And at the same time, do you prefer apple cider or hot chocolate?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, gotta say, bought these tickets on a whim before any of the announcements about this stuff. And so, the intrigue was there. I thought maybe he would make amends, or maybe he'd have anything else to say. When I went, I will say that the documentary makes him look like a great guy, which I would hope that maybe he is. He rebuilt a community that he lives in Ohio. He saved all these businesses. He flew a bunch of comedians on private jets, which I'm sure they missed in the pandemic. So really thoughtful guy. Obviously in juxtaposition to a special where he looks like just a very angry, sad, egotistical man. I prefer apple cider. I think that it's good cold and hot, whereas hot chocolate really only has one lane, and it's you drink it and you're like, this could just be in my coffee. Like it's got to have a benefit beyond being good tasting, and apples are just delightful, very fall-y. I love fall.
Here's my feeling on hot chocolate, which is you go out, like when I was a kid, it would be like, it's cold, you bundle up, you go outside, you come inside, you warm up instantly, and then it's time for hot chocolate, but I don't need it anymore because I'm inside.
True.
I never got it. And also, like, when you're bundled up, you're cold in a few places, but mostly very warm.
Yeah, you're fine.
Also, I think I feel like there's been a lot of discourse about like what doesn't or does Dave Chappelle get about this, and how did he lose touch? Fine, all valid. But what I am more worried about and more interested in is actually the audience, because I don't know how we go about changing a person with fuck you money's mind about something where he's made the decision to say fuck you. Like, I hope that people at Netflix walk out to make a point, but I imagine from Dave Chappelle's perspective, based on the special, that is confirming to him.
Yeah.
But what I worry about more than anything is actually the audience. And I see this kind of cohort of like not explicitly identifying as political young, mostly men, who are getting drawn into Joe Rogan and getting drawn into this culture around trans issues and masculinity with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan are going to be touring together, and I worry about those millions of people. Oh, you didn't hear that? They're touring together.
Oh, yeah.
Breaking news.
Ugh.
When two forces combine.
Yuck.
And I genuinely worry about, like, I care less about reaching Joe Rogan as a person or Dave Chappelle as a person. I care more about those millions of young men who are not yet lost and actually don't even explicitly identify as political, but there's something about this issue that, like, it's a gateway drug through these comedians and through this kind of, you know, masculinity culture that leads them in a dark way. And, like, I'm not worried about a baby boomer millionaire comedian who doesn't like criticism. I'm worried when they applaud when he talks about beating up a lesbian at a bar. Like, I worry about that. I worry about those moments. And that's what made me the most upset. Solomon, how much do you love men in camel-colored coats? And how much do you not love saying to baby, punch the LGBT community right in the AIDS? It's not a good special.
Camel color coats? Well, first of all, I think it's a great option, especially if you're in JCPenney.
Okay.
And honestly, who needs to defend the baby? No one, honestly. It's really, but you know, he tried to make a point, and that point needs to be made. But anyway, we should wear camel color coats. I want one now. It's very cold out here.
Chilly. There's blankets in this audience. I'm adding color for the podcast.
Yes.
They don't know.
It's cold for LA. It's like 64.
Yeah.
Look, it's cold for everywhere. I don't care.
Akilah, how much do you love pumpkin pie, and how much do you not love Dave Chappelle calling himself a TERF?
Okay. Pumpkin pie, I love. And I will say that, like, in the Black community, there's a lot of discourse about this because the sweet potato pie is like the gold standard. But for me, it's a little too chunky. It gets dry faster. I like pumpkin. And in the same way that I love pumpkin, I just really don't get the point of identifying with a bunch of hateful bitches who can't just, like, get in line and say, hey, we all matter. But, you know, fall.
Solomon, what's cooler, Halloween or Chappelle ending the special with a slideshow of celebrities?
Oh, what's cooler?
Yeah.
It's always going to be Halloween, because that way you can dress up as anyone that is not Dave Chappelle. Unless you love that crack addict character, which I do.
Yeah, Tyrone Bigham.
Yes, he's a great character.
Slaps. Do that, you know? Play the hits, Dave.
Play the hits.
That's all we all.
Play the hits, Dave. Do your Thunder Road.
No new songs.
You guys want to hear something new? Absolutely
No.
not. I
Talk
came
about-
for the radio standards.
Talk about Oscar the Grouch, you son of a bitch.
Thank you. The black white supremacists, we all love that.
Oh.
Genius work. We lost the thread.
What a depressing topic. Let's see. Do you like crisp leaves?
Yeah.
What do you think about crisp leaves?
I'm not against them.
When we come back, hot takes. It's like I want to engage on this topic. I care about it, and then at the same time, it feels so picked over because everyone agree. Like, it's like this horrible situation where there's this bubble conversation about how wrong Chappelle is, and then there are all these people out there that are like, kind of, there's no entrance for them into this part of the conversation where we're trying to have a serious and like, I think for a lot of people, like, new conversation about gender, and then there's just this reaction outside of it that's like, I feel like Dave Chappelle's great genius throughout his career is that he has this ability to cut through performance and hypocrisy to make a point about what's really going on. I think you see that in all of his greatest moments. But the problem is, like, that is a kind of common sense machine that was really, really powerful. But like a great, there's a saying in statistics, like garbage in, garbage out. Like, he's feeding into what is an incredibly powerful and sophisticated machine some shitty data.
Yeah.
And what's coming out is horseshit.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate part that we have to constantly deal with. And especially, like, as a queer black person in this world, it's just truly sucks because it's a circular argument. I feel there's no progress in the conversation. And when these guys keep bringing up these same sort of things, like we get to get caught up backwards in the loop, and that's the shitty part about it. There's so much progress that could be made, and these guys had the opportunity to do that, and they decided to back away from it, and that's the unfortunate part of it all.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's totally right. And the one thing that does make me a little bit hopeful is that, like, Dave Chappelle, for all the ways in which I think now he's a bit lost, he's not like some of these other kind of older, arrogant, long, successful comedians. I think part of what makes this something I want to talk about is, like, I actually think he's gettable. I still believe that.
I
Yeah,
still do
totally.
too.
I think we can get him.
Yeah. Well, I think he doesn't believe what he's saying. I think that this is all about his ego, and he doesn't like the fact that people didn't like his joke.
Exactly.
And, like, I don't think that he really cares about this as deeply as he purports to. I don't think that he's, like, gonna go to a turf meeting.
No.
Like, I don't think he would touch strangers. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't feel like he is as actually committed to this. I think he truly just is angry, and it's like the YouTube comment section. Like, you know, he's just gonna react because he's like, how dare you say I'm wrong? I've been right my whole life. How dare you say that I'm wrong? And it's like, he's at this inflection point where he is dealing with the fact that he's been called wrong for once in his career, and there's a huge community of men who have no community at all.
Yeah.
And so what they rally around is, well, what does it mean to be a man? It means that everyone is less than me. It means that if anyone has thought about their gender for longer than I have, they're wrong. It's like, it's just, I think, to your point, it's this feedback loop of people who have nowhere to turn but each other, but the only thing they can rally around is bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'd like to rally them around, like, I don't know, fall. Jackets.
Crisp leaves, camel coats.
Vanilla cupcakes into things.
Look, let's just go to Starbucks tomorrow and get ourselves a pumpkin spice latte and just be better people.
Yes.
Yeah.